Edexcel A-Level Maths Paper 2. What do I think of it? I've gone through the whole paper, guys. Now I'm not going in blind this time. And what a difference in papers. Obviously, after paper 1, guys, you were all messaging saying that it was the hardest thing you'd ever seen. Even though, as I told you, I thought it was quite a standard paper. But now, the tone has completely flipped. Most of the messages saying that it was probably one of the easy papers that you guys have ever seen. And to be honest, I completely agree. I've gone through the whole paper and it was a really easy paper. Now, normally, that's where you would expect me to say, that's great, things are looking good, the confidence is up, and that's good that student confidence is up. But unfortunately, guys, I really need you to listen to what I'm about to say when it comes to seriously easy papers, because an easy paper is not the good news that you think it is. I'll go through it question by question again, but not as in depth as I did in paper 1 because majority of the questions were quite simple. But as a similar disclaimer, guys, I can't show you the paper, but I'll describe each question as I go along. Now, as you guys know, with question 1, it was a factor theorem question, super basic, year 12. Really easy question 2 for the trapezium rule. Really easy question 3. Arithmetic sequences. You could argue question D, part D, with the largest possible SN, maybe made you think a little bit, but in general, most students will figure that one out. Question 4, recurrence relation, super easy question. Question 5, this trig modeling. To be honest, guys, super basic. We've seen a copy and paste of this question in a past paper. Question 6, year 12, first principles. We were expecting that. Question 7, a super easy vectors question. In fact, I did a question pretty much carbon copy in my revision session the night before. Question 8, year 12 question, part C, to find the limit, you just make t tend to infinity, super simple. Question 9, we're expecting something like this with the logged axes. I think most students would have prepared for this, so super simple year 12 question. Question 10, again, super basic partial fractions. Question 11, a really easy substitution question. You can make silly mistakes here and there, but in general, guys, I'm pretty sure most students were expecting a trig substitution or something like that. Well, I was anyway. So seeing something like this, super basic. Question 12, one of the easiest parametric equations we've ever seen, differentiating super simple functions here, and in part C, doing simultaneous equations. They even gave you the Cartesian form. They didn't even want you to solve in terms of t. 13, the implicit. Again, I feel like everybody was preparing for a more difficult question here. A very easy implicit differentiation. Question 14, easy chain rule of exponential functions. And then finally, question 15 is an easy year 12 circles question, discriminant for part B. Now, going through this, as I said, guys, it was a very easy paper. Nothing on this paper asks you to genuinely stop and think, oh, I haven't seen this before. The hardest point maybe is some of the parametric stuff, maybe, but to be honest, like I said, nothing crazy. Now, here is where I was saying, this is not the good news you were perhaps expecting. The confidence aspect is really important. You guys feeling more confident is great. We want to feel confident in maths exams, but the first thing is grade boundaries, okay? Now, I'm not going to discuss what the grade boundaries are going to be because it's all speculation. We need to see the third paper. But when a paper is easy, what happens to the grade boundaries? They do go up. And when you compare this paper overall, paper 1, paper 2, against 2025, the standard is basically the same, okay? Paper 1, on average, is probably the harder out of all 4 pure papers across 2016 and 2025. But with this second paper being so easy, on average, the 2026 series is on par with 2025, okay? Now, when there's a hard paper, everybody struggles, lots of people drop marks, so the grade boundaries can come down and account for it, which is what will happen with the first paper. There's a cushion. Now, on an easy paper, there is no cushion. So if you make a silly mistake, you are penalized heavy for it, okay? It feels like it's going a little bit further back to when I did my A-levels, where if you wanted to get an A star, you had to average 72 out of 75 in your papers. You had to get above 90%, okay? Now, why is that not a good thing? Is because one silly mistake and, you know, a sign error, a misread, forgetting the constant A, some of you guys were mentioning about the partial fractions. On a hard paper, if you make a silly mistake like that, you don't feel it as much. But on an easy paper, an easy slit, and that could be the difference between an A and A star. You know, in the first paper, a lot of students were saying, look, some of us are aiming for a B, some of us are aiming for a C, and that's great if that's what you're aiming for. But these kind of papers, which are super easy, they hit those students a lot harder because you're more prone to make silly mistakes, and that's fair. But students who are really meticulous, aiming for those A stars, they don't get hit by these kind of papers. So students aiming for those mid-ranges, they actually get hit a lot harder with easy papers, and the grade boundaries start going up, okay? So if you did come out of that paper feeling great, that's amazing, because you can take that into paper 3, that high confidence, okay? And the second thing, which is an even more important point, I kind of touched on this earlier, as much as you guys complain of a paper being tough like paper 1, you guys psych yourselves out. But really, it's the easy papers you need to be wary of. You guys wanted this petition for paper 1 for something being hard. You should be doing a petition for papers being too easy. And the reason for that is an easy paper does not reward individuals who really understand the subject, okay? It rewards whoever's fastest and whoever's more meticulous, okay? Like I said, making silly mistakes, that will really cost you, okay? There's no depth being tested. Nobody's being asked to combine multiple ideas at once, okay? And, you know, this is what we were seeing in the old spec. And that's a shame, because students who have really put in the graft, really tried to understand the concepts deeply. If you're aiming for those mid-range grades, you've really tried to put your attention on certain topics that require a lot of understanding and depth. But you don't get to show that off in a paper like this, okay? This really benefits those further math students who are meticulous. You genuinely rather sit a paper with a bit in it, because that's the one that separates the people who really get it compared to the people who just memorize steps, okay? Which is why modeling questions are really good. So weirdly, the time to complain isn't when a paper is hard, it's when it's easy. So this is my final advice when going into paper 3. Do not get complacent. We literally have no idea the standard that's going to be in that paper. Paper 1 might have been a bit tougher for you guys. Paper 2, super easy. Okay, we don't know what they're going to do in paper 3. One thing's for sure is in 2025, paper 3 wasn't that difficult, which is why the grade boundaries reflected that. So it's very important, guys, that it being your last paper is you prepare for the worst. Tomorrow, I'm going to put out a video on how I think you could best prepare for that exam. Watch all of my videos. I've got some study resources that are completely free for you on the MyEdspace website. If you guys want to sign up for my day before final revision session, go for it. You're more than welcome to click the link in my bio. There's a full playlist on my TikTok, on my YouTube. Go for it. And guys, if you have any issues, any queries, I've been answering all of my DMs, so they are open for you. I'll see you guys in the next video. Well done for improving on confidence. That's definitely a big win. Nice.